Guess who's back? Back again. Big Sam's back. Tell a friend. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. This is the breaking news today that Big Sam Allardyce is set to return to the Premier League and is set to manage once again in England's top flight division, this time taking over as the new manager of Leeds United. It has been reported today that late last night, that Javi Graci's position at Leeds United was being discussed very heavily internally at the club, and today, maybe even at the time of recording this, maybe at the time of actually putting this out, he will be sacked and Big Sam will be taking over for the remaining 4 games of what remains of this topsy-turvy, crazy, weird and circus-like season that has been the 2022-23 Premier League campaign. We're going to be talking all about this appointment and everything else that goes in between Big Sam, the manager that's leaving, and Leeds United Football Club themselves. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things always and probably greatly appreciated. And also get involved in the comments as well, because I'm sure you'll all have your own opinions, thoughts, comments, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on this particular topic. And I'm sure they'll all make for great and interesting reading down below in that comment section. But without further ado, let's get into this. Let's talk Leeds United. Let's talk Big Sam Allardyce. Look, this is the last roll of the dice. Like, that's understating it a little bit, I get. But this is the last roll of the dice. This is the very, very last roll of the dice for Leeds United Football Club to bring in Big Sam Allardyce. I reckon the Premier League, when Big Sam officially kind of retires, are going to talk him out of it, and they're going to put him on ice. They're going to cryogenically freeze him, just so that every so often they can bring him out of retirement, just to add to what has already been a crazy enough season of managerial sackings, big score lines, and everything else in between. Just for, obviously, a manager like Big Sam Allardyce with a big reputation in the Premier League, and obviously a history with it, a notorious history with it, a well-documented history with England's top flight division, just to be, thawed out and then brought back into management. It's the year 2065 and Big Sam Allardyce is still being brought back for the final few games of the season to manage a team like Crystal Palace again, or Everton, or someone from the Premier League, from the Championship, Blackburn Rovers. Maybe he returns there or something. That is just kind of my vision for how I see Sam Allardyce going in the future. But he's got it all to do. He's got it all to do at this football club. With all this, because he's got 4 games left of the season. So he doesn't want to take a full-time job. He knows that he's only got 4 games left at the end of the campaign. Bit of a payday. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, he's not really bothered by it. Leeds will go back down to the Championship. But obviously he joins a club that are in such a bad run of form. He joins a club that have conceded, I think, the most amount of goals in a single month in the Premier League in April. And that is pretty impressive, considering that the last team to do that was Leeds last year, I believe, in February. Javi Graci's time wasn't great. It started off okay to an extent. To say that he was a new manager coming into a new club, he started off okay. There was a bit more control about Leeds, but then suddenly in the month of April, all that control has gone completely out the window, and Leeds have been conceding goals left, right, and centre. Their defence has been a complete chaos and disarray over this past month. They conceded 4 against Arsenal. They actually beat Nottingham Forest at the beginning of this month, but a lot of teams are beating Nottingham Forest, with all due respect. They conceded 5 against Palace, 6 against Liverpool, 2 against Fulham, They actually drew against Leicester, but obviously more recently, this past weekend, they conceded 4 in a 4-1 defeat against Bournemouth, which was the final nail in Javi Gracia's coffin, so to speak, with Leeds United. And he leaves the club a place outside the relegation zone on goal difference, which, considering that they've conceded 23 goals this past month, is actually pretty impressive. That they still didn't manage to go even below Nottingham Forest, who are on the same amount of points of them, but are in the relegation zone via that goal difference kind of law. So that's pretty impressive in itself. But obviously Leeds are hanging over the edge, so to speak. And looking at the bottom of the table, look, I think Southampton are pretty much gone at this point. I don't see them staging any kind of great escape or revival going forward. I think they are pretty much done and dusted, and probably can be by the next game week, should obviously results go against them. Everton obviously drew last night with Leicester 2-2. They're in big trouble. They are in big trouble. I thought Sean Dyche was going to come in, and I thought he was going to set them up properly, and I thought they were going to be very difficult to beat and maybe get out of this kind of relegation battle. That hasn't happened as of yet. They can still obviously escape, but I think they've got some pretty tough fixtures in the remaining games of them. I'm actually going to do a video on the relegation battle because it's pretty intriguing down there right now. Forest, we just mentioned, they've also got 4 games remaining. They've got some pretty tough games coming up themselves. Leeds, 4 games remaining. They are against Manchester City, Newcastle, West Ham and Tottenham. So Big Sam's got a massive uphill battle on his hands there. You wouldn't expect them to get anything out of City, not with their hot pursuit of the Premier League title. Newcastle are in some fantastic form right now. And they're going to be extremely difficult to beat. Ellen Road, though, if obviously Big Sam manages to get them on side and everything, it could be a difficult place to go, but you'd still expect Newcastle to get the 3 points there. West Ham away. West Ham are only in 15th. They're not completely out of the relegation battle just yet. I think they still need. I think if they win their game in hand, I think that will definitely move them away from that. They're still in danger a little bit, but they have the potential to obviously move out of that should they win their game in hand. And then on the final day, they're coming against Tottenham, and let's face it, with Tottenham, anything is certainly possible. They can definitely cause Tottenham some food for thought. Tottenham obviously trying to play for some sort of European football, but obviously they're not in the best of form themselves right now. They've got Ryan Mason as an interim manager. Anything even more so for Spurs is certainly possible. But Big Sam's going to have a massive uphill battle. Those 4 games are going to be tough, and let's face it, he doesn't exactly play the most eye-catching or most attractive brand of football, but at the same time, it can be effective and has proven to be effective before. You can be like Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp with your fancy tiki-taka style passing, or your gegenpressing, or your high-press style, or whatever kind of style you have. Old-fashioned kind of methods, 2 banks of 4, direct, long ball, however you want to put it, still kind of has a place in the Premier League, and Big Sam obviously is a big advocate for that, because he does get results and has got results in the past and has managed to keep teams afloat, so to speak. He's a very knowledgeable manager, especially in the Premier League, like I mentioned before. And his style of football has helped keep teams afloat and maintain their Premier League status for at least another campaign. And I guess, like I say, that is why they took this gamble. But in this season where everybody's took a gamble, everybody's took these gambles in managers coming in, new ones coming in at key times, trying to obviously stay one step ahead of their rivals in this huge relegation battle, it could work. Like, this could work. This could be a new manager bounce that comes in. They could get something against City. City have the potential to slip up at any moment. It could work. It definitely could. It could work against Newcastle. Maybe Eddie Howe's brand of football just doesn't quite match up to Big Sam's brand of football. we've seen it in the past. Certain managers just seem to have certain ways of getting past certain other managers. It's possible. Big Sam's brand of football might be able to keep Leeds afloat for another season. It just might. It's going to be tough. It's going to be intriguing to watch, but it very well could. Because it's becoming unique. If anything, you look at the way that Brentford play football. You even look at the way the new teams that are coming up play their brand of football. The Brightons. Look at De Zerbi when he comes in. Everyone is playing a much more attractive brand of football. Everyone is trying to play a much more high pressing brand of football. That's what makes the Premier League so unique, in the fact that you've still got managers like Sam Allardyce around, like David Moyes around, like even Roy Hodgson. He returned to Crystal Palace, and I remember saying, like, I don't understand this. I don't know what Crystal Palace are doing here. It's crazy. And look, they're scoring goals for fun right now. They scored another 4 at the weekend. Like, it's what makes the Premier League, in my opinion, so great. Do I see this working for Leeds? Look, I'll have to obviously check furthermore what the games are for Everton and Forest. But Sam's been in this position before. Does his players kind of suit his style? Maybe not really. I don't think Leeds have too much of a solid too many solid players like what Sam has been used to having and moulding and shaping into his kind of, I guess you call it, philosophy. In obviously recent times he's managed certain teams. But it definitely can work. New manager bounce, like I say, we've seen it with Roy Hodgson. It's certainly possible, and I for one am intrigued to see how it goes. Do I see it actually working? Like I said, I'll have to check because my thing throughout this entire season has been, I think Forest will get through. I think Forest will survive because of their home form. I said right from the beginning, I think their home form is going to be immense. I think it's going to be hostile, and I think that their home form can definitely see them through. And actually, I'm looking at it right now. Forest's next home game is against Southampton. That, for me, should be 3 points to Forest, especially with Forest being at home next Monday night. So for me, seeing obviously Leeds' fixtures in comparison to Forest right off the bat, I don't think they're going to survive. I don't think they'll survive. I think Forest may just get ahead of them, and then obviously from that point on, it's about whether Everton can obviously do something. Can they drag a Leicester down with them? Can West Ham obviously maintain their space between themselves and the drop zone? It's going to be an interesting battle. It's going to be a very interesting battle, and obviously you add another layer into it with Leeds making their last-ditch attempt to survive by sacking Javi Gracia and bringing in big Sam Allardyce. That's going to be very intriguing to see unfold before our very eyes. But those are just my thoughts, my comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it on this particular news story. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of the news of Sam Allardyce's return to the Premier League, return to England's top flight division, and managing Leeds United following the sacking of Javi Gracia? That's going to be for interesting reading. Leave your comments, your opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section, because I'm sure it'll make for interesting and great reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always very greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you all again soon in another video.